relationships are hard. They're not the easiest thing to handle, especially if you have a developing frontal lobe. But is it worth being in a committed relationship if that is what floats your boat? Um, Rather than not being in a relationship and engaging in the hookup culture, casual dating culture, situationship culture. Here's my take on that. I have not looked through any scientific research or research paper journal about this thing. I want to share my experience and what my insight is on what is the cost and benefit situation which happens in a proper committed relationship with the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. A plant, if you have a pet plant, like a mango plant, and you water it every day, you may not see the result every single day, but every day that you take care of it, you get a return. Say 10, 15 years later, you get a huge return. The mango tree is now going to live for a very long time. It is going to bear fruits every year, every summer, and you can enjoy those fruits. So a relationship feels like that because every single day you put in effort, it shows. Like, the 3 month mark is not the same as the 6 month mark, is not the same as the 1 year mark, which is not even the same as the 14-month mark, because that is how quickly things change, slowly but quickly. So with every bit of effort that you put in into a lot of things which I'm going to discuss in a while, it shows. You get the result, you get a return out of it, which is a loving, healthy, blissful relationship and feelings of content, joy, happiness, fulfillment, companionship, support, and all the good things. But what you get the most out of is communication. The communication skill you learn if you are in that stage, it stays with you, and it also overarches to other parts of your life, which is such a great thing, because not many people care about communication. Not many people care about communication in friendships, in other relationships. Even I didn't care about communication, at least until 3 4 2 3 years ago. I didn't care about it. I have ghosted a lot of friendships with no communication, and yeah, I'm not proud of that at all. I could have done better. I could have had a better skill at communicating, but I didn't have it back then. Now I am still learning. Not avoiding a relationship at any cost. At the cost of your own sanity, at the cost of your own mental health, your emotions, your feelings of safety and comfort and security, and embracing said potential relationship at the cost of having to be a better person, at the cost of having to grow for the other person, for the sake of the relationship, for the sake of the other person, for the sake of your own self, for your own self to be happy. Those two are two different paths. You cannot build a relationship in one day. I'm talking about romantic relationships here, because that is the point of concern I have today. You cannot build it in one day. But you can avoid it if you really want to avoid having a relationship with someone you care about. Yes, there are pretty much a lot of ways to avoid that. But are those methods easy? That is my question. Would you rather keep avoiding it through various weird behaviors, or would you rather embrace it and allow the other person into your life and have a life with that person? Try to grow with that person, try to be a better human for that person, for your own self, for the sake of the bond that you two share. That question, like this discussion, is an extension of the last video that I posted, where I was saying I don't understand why it's so difficult for people to commit. I understand, I may have meant it in a different manner. I understand why people want to avoid being in a committed relationship, why people want to avoid commitment. But are the cost costs of being committed outweighing the benefits? Are they outweighing the benefits, or are the benefits outweighing the costs? What is the cost of avoiding, no matter what, a prospective relationship with this person you have grown to care about? You're avoiding, and then suddenly at one point you are like, no, I want to be in a relationship. You have already spent so much of your willpower, you have already spent so much of your energy into avoiding the whole thing. Now you are left with very little energy, very little vigor or willpower to sustain this relationship, like have this relationship grow. So that is where things fall apart, because you have already had this weird equation with the other person. Your chemicals are all over the place, they're a wreck. Your brain is haywire, and you're just mentally all over the place, and then suddenly you have to force yourself to be with this other person, and now your brain cannot understand that it's not supposed to have those highs and lows and those games and um, all the manipulation and all the tricks and everything. So what is the point if you want to spend your whole 20s avoiding relationships at every cost, and then in your 30s or your 40s you want to settle down? Why not settle down before that? Because things are not going to be any easier later on. People say these things. I personally have heard this a lot, that you focus on your career now, your profession, your work, your studies in your 20s. When you are settled, you start a relationship. No, I believe the 20s are the time where you have the most amount of physical and mental and emotional energy. In your teens, you're too oblivious of what's happening. In your 30s, you're already tired. I mean, I understand that age is just a number, and most people in their 30s and 40s say my life has just started. But I also see these people who say that I am just tired. I'm tired in my 30s. I'm tired in my 40s. I don't want to have this or that. So, the time when you are the most energetic and you have the most amount of vigor, why not build up the constellation of life during that point of time where you have the energy to expend in everything? Why is a relationship so much pushed to the background that now people have had to opt for situationships because they are so afraid, and it's been so ingrained in their head that they should not pursue a relationship? A relationship is so important because humans have had been in partnerships since time immortal, otherwise we wouldn't be here today. It's not just a mating thing, it's also about emotions, it's also about feelings and bonding and connection. So why would you give this up to chase something which you could have done better than later on? Why do that? I feel this was very important to discuss. For me personally, it was important for me to talk about these things. And yeah, that's all for today.